If you're not early, you're late. But if you're late, you're late. All right, we'll go ahead and get going here. I'm aging kind of like Coach Rogers, except it's the opposite. I can't read with my glasses on. He has to put glasses on to read. I have to take mine off to be able to read. So first of all, appreciate everybody coming. This is something that is different for us. We're not having the big athletic banquet at the end. But I appreciate you coming. A bunch of thank yous here to get started. First of all, the administration and the board for supporting us. With the shipping problems and all that, we started the year off with where we didn't have enough helmets. Had a large junior high group, and they took care of stuff there. And that was just one example of them taking care of us and making sure that the guys have what they need. Tammy and Wanda in the office and all the stuff they do for us. Red Caps, everything that they do as far as feeding us, the parents that are involved in Red Caps. Huge thank you to you. Steve and Corey and Roger getting us every place safe. What we hit 1 deer this year, and I'm glad I don't have to be a bus driver, because I know that's a stressful thing for those guys. Unfortunately, I have to mention Alex like multiple times on here. He, first of all, big thank you to him with laundry and taking care of the complex. He had big shoes to fill, and he's done a tremendous job for us. But he also helped paint the field with AJ and Matt. And, everything that they do, I think our field looks as good or better than everybody that we play all year. And it's a tribute to those guys. The stat guys that help out, and I know sometimes there's some different guys that come down there, but Josh and John and Randy were the three that were kind of the mainstays down there. Isaiah Hack and Wyatt Overmiller filmed for us. Wyatt went on road trips with us, and big thank you to them. That's a big part of what we do is film breakdown, and to have those films, and we get a lot of bad films traded to us, and so I always like that our films don't look like that. Miranda Atwood and the students that help her, they do, for one example, the pictures that go in the weight room, and just different stuff for us that way. Al and his crew, videoing and doing all that kind of stuff. I have a lot of people who text me all the time and enjoy watching us on the web, so appreciate those guys. Obviously, huge thank you to my coaches, Coach Rogers, Coach Hutch, and Coach Stansberry. They have the same expectations that I do, and so it's not like I have to ask them to put in the time that we put in. They're there with me all the time, and a big thank you to them. The ones that I really want to thank, though, are Callie and Julie and Ellie, because they're the ones that constantly have to give up those three guys. And I say that because I assume they want to hang out with them, but I appreciate them letting me have those guys the amount of time that we do. Then big thank you to Heather, obviously, the time that she allows me to be with these guys. I know it's not easy, but I appreciate her letting me do that. But the last thing is to you parents out there, and especially the senior parents, 6 years of getting your kids here and being involved and taking care of all the little things that makes this a program. And that's what, I think this is a program. And, the consistency comes from that. And so huge thank you to the parents. And that's part of what I think tonight's about is not only honoring these guys, but making sure we honor you parents. The 2021 Redmen were 9-2. We were MCL champions, and that was the first time since 2019, and I believe that before that it was 2015 was the last time. We were regional champions. We were sectional runner-ups. These seniors were 42-6 over their 4 years. What that means is that they had 12 extra weeks of football over their 4 years, which is a season and a third. So really, these guys in their 4 years of high school football had 5 1/3 seasons because of the success that we have. And, those extra practices we get, that makes a big difference, and it's kind of something that we do a lot. And so I think everybody expects it, but we talked about that this year. I read all sorts of articles this year about teams having their first time to that deep in the playoffs since 2002 or something like that, and we're doing this on a consistent basis, but that doesn't make it less special. Okay, it doesn't make it less amazing the things that these guys do, and again, I know we didn't get where we wanted to, but we need to recognize they were top 8 again. Right, and we've been in that kind of a situation since, I think the last time we weren't there was 2014. Okay, and so that's kind of what I'm most proud of. The time that we ask of these guys, from the little bit of fundraising we did this year, but a lot of them are in the weight room 44 plus days. One of my favorite days of the year is the first day of weight room being open in the summer. And we'll have, 70 kids there in the morning, and we'll have 20, 30 kids there at night. And I'm thinking that's, we have 100 and some kids that don't have to be here that are here. And these guys are a lot of those people. But, that's one of the days that I really enjoy. We had trench camp, we had team camp, we had over 60 practices. Football is, we don't ask a ton in the summer out of them. We don't do we haven't been able to do the 7-on-7 for a couple years as far as going someplace. But, I think it's almost a year-round thing for some of these guys, and especially for us coaches. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the guys. I'm just going to have them come up here. So the first group are underclassmen who competed for us this year in football. This group is a group that doesn't necessarily get a ton of Friday nights recognition, but they're important to us at practice, the scout team. So I'll go through these guys first. Kyler Elliott, Mason Enix, Landon Erickson, Gavin Hughes, Tyler Quinn, and Will Tucker. Those are freshmen that were underclassmen. Lane Campbell, Ian Doan, Tegan McKenzie, Cole Morgan. Don't worry, I'm not forgetting anybody. I've got a rhyme and reason to this. Leonard Schlatter, Dylan Zassell. So those are sophomores. Dylan was one that they had to get hurt on us this year. Trace Billinger, Garrett Warner, Cooper Jones, and Nathan Bryant. Those last two new to our program this year, and we're really glad to have them. But these are underclassmen. Okay, the next group is underclassmen who lettered. So I'm going to have you guys stay up here. And then these are underclassmen who lettered for us this year. So Davian Orr, Benji Carr, Eli Franklin, Caden Weltmer, Jason Davian, Tarek Kelsch, Alex Wilkinson, and Jake Sass. Okay, and then the next group is underclassmen who lettered but also received some sort of postseason recognition. The different things we have here, we have all league, so MCL. We have District 3. Once we started having these bigger districts, some of the coaches decided we needed to do something to recognize the best players in a district. And so that's, for us, that was District 3. SIK is Sports in Kansas. The KFBCA is the Kansas Football Coaches Association. They only recognize seniors. The Keisha Covered is a new thing that Keisha's doing now. That's another all-state team that was released. Some of those are voted on by coaches. The All-League is voted on by coaches. The District 3 is voted on by coaches. The other ones are all, you submit guys, we submit people, but then they're voted on by media. So again, underclassmen who received honors. So Cade Sass, he was honorable mention MCL offensive lineman. And for those of you who've been around for a while and thought this looked different, it was different. For some reason, our all-league, instead of being where we voted on 2 tackles, 2 guards, a center, that kind of stuff, we voted on we voted on offensive line as a group. And so it was a little bit different this year. I think we as coaches asked the administration to switch that back to our recognizing individual positions. But Luke Franklin, he was District 3 second team linebacker, and he was MCL second team linebacker. Coy Hairsnape, he was District 3 first team offensive lineman. He was MCL first team offensive lineman. He was second team defensive lineman in MCL. He was Keisha Covered 1A honorable mention offensive line. He was Sports in Kansas 1A honorable mention offensive line. And he was Sports in Kansas 1A honorable mention non-senior team. Bentley Montgomery, he was District 3 first team defensive back. He was a second team returner for District 3. He was MCL first team defensive back, second team running back, and he was second team returner for the MCL. He was Keisha Covered 1A first team returner. Now that's the one that if you saw, he was listed as athlete. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Okay. They had D-line, they had linebackers, they had defensive backs, they had returners, and then they had athlete. But I know what you were put in for and what your best stats probably were returners, so that's why I listed it that way. But he was also honorable mention defensive back for Keisha Covered. He was Sports in Kansas 1A first team returner. He was Sports in Kansas honorable mention defensive back, and Sports in Kansas 1A honorable mention non-senior team. All right, so these guys up here, and I know a couple guys were gone. I know there was some church things going on, but these guys, along with the upcoming freshmen next year, will be our team next year. And so, again, a lot of these guys have had playing time. The first group that I had are going to be part of the ones that we're going to be hoping and expecting to step up and fill some of the shoes of this next group that I'm going to talk about here. So, again, I appreciate these guys, and we try to tell them that, as often as we can. Thanks, guys. All right, so our seniors, we had 9 of them, and I know we have 2 not here tonight. I'm going to go ahead and talk about them, but Brennick Spees, he's the kind of kid that, especially this year, I really appreciated him. I thought he finally had a summer that he was proud of, and, we're not all, and we talk about this, we're not all given the same abilities. And but what I was happy with Brennick is that he showed up, and we talked about that as a team. One of the big things in life is showing up, okay? And he came to practice, and he had no reward for it, right? He wasn't getting to play, he wasn't, and that's tough. But I think he learned from that. And I hope it can carry through into his life and he continue that work ethic. He fought some injuries also. Owen Wagner, go ahead and come up here. Owen finally believed what we as coaches saw flashes of in practice. That he could dominate when he wanted to, and that's sometimes a hard time as a coach, that you're trying to get these guys convinced of what they are. we've been around for a few years and we've seen a lot of stuff, and we try to convince these guys when we see stuff, and sometimes it just flashes as a sophomore or as a junior, but I was so proud of Owen and the way that he contributed and became such an important part of our team this year. Defensively, again, whether it was practice and really making our varsity offensive line work, whether it was making sure that he understood what we were doing offensively in case he had to get in there, but then defensively on Friday nights, at times he just really was a pain in the neck for the opposition. But really proud that he stuck it out, and I think it paid off for him as a senior. Tice McKenzie. Okay, one of several guys that over the years played a lot of positions. I know Tice played tackle, guard, and center during practice because we were always wanting to make sure we had another guy ready if we needed to. Played two-tech this year on defense. He's been a linebacker. He played some even as a sophomore. But then, he had an injury as a junior, and he was always able to step in wherever we asked him to, and that's tough. Some of these guys maybe played the same position most of their career, but some of these guys also had to switch around a lot, and it's part of the smaller numbers of a 1A school is that we don't always have that next guy to go in ready, and so we're moving some guys around. But Tice was one of those guys that moved around and never complained, and in fact he was always up for it. So really appreciate him and proud of what he was able to do. Andrew Wilkinson, he was named KFBCA first team kicker, and he was Sports in Kansas 1A honorable mention kicker. He was one that was looking at tough decisions as a senior of does he need to work, does he need to be a part of football. I was really happy that he joined us, we knew he could be somebody who could help us out, and so really appreciate him realizing that, and we as coaches understand that sometimes kids have to make tough decisions, but we're always glad when they choose to go out and be a part of our program. Mason DeSalle. Mason was named honorable mention Mid-Continent League offensive line. He was second team District 3 offensive line. He's another one that lost a chunk of his junior year to an injury, and that always stinks. And just from the experience level, we knew he was going to be a player this year. It took him a little while, I think, to get comfortable out there. And as he did, he became a tremendous player for us. I think, this is my 9th year, and I don't try to compare teams a lot, but I really feel like tight end to right tackle, this was maybe the most complete offensive line. We maybe had better individual guys over the years, but just all the way across, it was a pretty solid line, and we had some good size up there too, and that's what contributed to a lot of the success that we had this year. And again, Mason was another one that moved positions, especially defensively. Went from a linebacker that played. The play that always comes out in my head about you as linebacker, the pick up here your sophomore year, who was that against?
TMP.
Was it TMP? That's my lasting memory of you playing linebacker.
It's the only thing I did.
Nolan Lehman. Nolan was named MCL second team tight end. Really proud of that, and that's Nolan. He ended up having to play some as a sophomore, and I don't know if he was quite ready, but we didn't have another guy to go in there, and so he played, and he took some chewings at film, and I know that wasn't fun. And then his junior year, we rotated a couple guys through there. I was so glad that Nolan, he finally this year is almost like he said, this is my spot. And, we still rotate a little bit there because we have to get plays on and off, but, he surprised us. And we don't get surprised very often. But what I saw in film out of Nolan was a guy who had experience, and that came from playing his sophomore year and getting beat, not making great blocks all the time. But and whether he knew it or not, his brain was accumulating a bunch of that. And, it just turned into where he was a solid blocker for us, and that's what we ask out of our tight end the most of anything. But defensively also, just as the year went on, just Coach Hutch kept working him in more and more. And because he gave us, a guy that because he didn't play every down on offense, he was a little fresher when he went in at defensive end for us. So both sides of the ball, just really happy with Nolan in his senior year. Nathan Yeager. Nathan was District 3 second team defensive back. He was Mid-Continent League second team quarterback and defensive back. He was Keisha covered 1A honorable mention defensive back. He was Sports in Kansas 1A honorable mention defensive back and returner for Sports in Kansas. It happens naturally because I call the offensive plays. You end up kind of having a closer relationship. Even though I'm an offensive line coach and offensive line guy with your quarterback, you end up with a closer relationship with him, especially when you have a 2-year starter like him. There's times I think he understands what I'm wanting to do as a senior. As a junior year, he definitely didn't have the confidence yet, and his senior year, you could just tell it was his huddle, and it was his team on the offensive side. It was so fun to watch him come. Same that I have an enduring memory with Mason. I have one of him laying on the ground right after Hobelman broke him in practice. And, just watching him, any scout team quarterback has to go through that. And, I ended up putting a different colored jersey on him, and I don't know if that helped or if that just made him a target. But, trying to protect him because, but we talk about that, the process of going through that, and you just see the benefits of that when a kid's a senior. And, we definitely saw that with him, and just seeing him grow from his first start his junior year until this year. And, that's always the challenge when you have a 2-year starter, is the next year you're starting again at that position. And so, that's something that we'll look at doing next year. Jake Kirchhoff. Jake was District 3 first team running back and first team linebacker. He was MCL first team running back and first team linebacker. He was KFBCA first team running back. He was Keisha covered first team linebacker. I always think that's funny when 2 different all-state things, one puts him all-state at running back, one puts him at linebacker. And then he was Sports in Kansas first team running back. Jake's unfortunately one of those guys who career ended one game earlier than the rest of his class because of injury. And that stinks because I never had a lot of injuries as a player, mainly because I wasn't running around as much as these guys, but I know we talk about it all the time of playing every play like it's your last, but I know you weren't thinking as you went around. It was a 15, I assume, wasn't it? On the right side over there, I can still probably walk out and show you where it happened, but I guarantee he wasn't thinking that was the last play he was ever going to play. And that's tough. That's true of everything in life. You just don't know when those things are going to happen. But, he's one that his junior year, we knew we needed him on the field, but he wasn't where we wanted him as a back, and so we turned him into a lineman. and he did a great job. But as he went through track this year, which we kind of had to talk him into track last year, and then we kind of had to talk him into running in track, right? But I tell you, it paid off, and the more you saw him run in track, the more I saw a kid that was starting to be able to handle his body. And, so as this season came, I don't know if it was last spring or this summer, I met with him and I said, man, we're looking at putting you back in the backfield, and he was excited about that, but ended up being our leading rusher. If you don't notice, I don't go through a whole lot of stats. I've got them all, but it's one of the things I'm most proud of with our program, not just this team, but with our program, is that we don't have a lot of guys that are really worried about stats. Yeah, on Thursday we do our helmet stickers, and the kids are excited about that, and they like doing that, and that's all based on stats. But it's not something that we're all worried about. And unfortunately, though, stats is what kind of leads to some of these postseason honors. But fortunately, some of these guys still got recognized. But he was our leading rusher this year. And again, proud of him, but also, just broke my heart to have his season and his career end the way that it did. Okay, and then I did save Colton Harrison for last. And the reason is because I thought this is one opportunity I have for him to wait on me. Because I've spent a couple years waiting on him. I don't know when you expected him home for supper, but he was always probably later than what you thought, and thus I was home later for supper. And it wasn't just him, but I think he was kind of the catalyst of it. Colton was District 3 first team offensive lineman and defensive lineman. He was MCL first team offensive lineman and defensive lineman. He was Kansas Football Coaches Association first team offensive lineman. He was Keisha Covered first team 1A first team offensive lineman. He was Sports in Kansas 1A first team offensive lineman. These are things I can't always remember. You started some your freshman year, played a little bit your freshman year, you started your sophomore year. Okay, but a 3-year starter, and so like a lot of our offensive linemen that are better ones start on the right side when they're young, and then they move to the left side. If you haven't figured it out yet, we're kind of a left-handed team. Did they know that, Mr. McEwen? Did they know that over in Norton? I don't know if people know that or not. He was one of those guys that started on the right side, and then his junior year, we needed a center, and we stuck him in there at center. And this year, I really wanted to get him back out there at tackle, and fortunately, Cade really stepped up for us to allow us to do that. Again, he's one of those guys that was just solid for us, except at tight end. Right, except at tight end. You wouldn't think moving from here to here would change how you block, but it really did for Colton. Because when we played him at tight end, he couldn't block my mom, and at tackle he could block anybody. And so I don't know what the deal was there, but. We figured it out, and then we just slid him in 3 feet, and he was good. He was especially this year the last guy out, and the guy who always turned the lights off on that end of the complex as he was leaving. Every once in a while I would complain because I did have something I was wanting to get home to every once in a while, whether it was plant weed or whatever, but. Truly, yeah, Dollar General dates, yeah. Okay. Truth be told, and you underclassmen, shut your ears here. Truth be told, it's one of those things I enjoy, and seeing those guys out there, and for a lot of it is just enjoying the time with each other, because Yeager was guilty too. I'm giving Colton most of the blame, but Yeager was right there with him. But it is part of that. I don't know if it's just recognizing it's your senior year and just trying to do what we tell them to do all the time is enjoy all the little things, enjoy the little moments, enjoy practice, enjoy all those little things. You know, you can't just live for Friday nights, right? You got to enjoy all those little things, and I think those guys really did do that. And again, it's an enjoyable part as a coach to see kids go through that and to experience those things. So this was our senior class this year. Again, 42-6. There are people all over the state and country who would take that for a 4-year record, and so super proud of them and their leadership. And for you underclassmen, you got to look up here and you got to understand we got to replace all this, right? And that's going to take work on some of you guys' parts because there's some big shoes to fill up here. So really appreciate you guys.
Colton will be last one. Hold on.
You get the lights, Colton?
I got to mess up the door first.
Okay, Tangi, am I starting? Are you starting this? Oh, yeah, he's up here. Kane, I'm sorry. I appreciate you saying that, Coach. Kane's on my list. I read past it because I was doing this row down here. But, yeah, Kane Freeling. We were just talking, because I was thinking about this earlier. I know he would have rather played, but it didn't work out that way. And so I'm telling you, next year when we have a game, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff not done. Unless somebody figures out what all Kane did, and we can find somebody else to do it. Because there were so many things that we just knew when we left the complex, it was already going to be done. And to have a guy like that for 4 years and to help out and do stuff, you know, that's huge. Hopefully he did a good job, because I think we are getting Ian and Fisher back. They're both 5th graders, weren't they? So hopefully Kane trained them. B, hopefully they paid attention. No and no, they said up here. Yeah, thanks so much, Coach, because I did forget to talk about them. Okay, I think we have a video here Tangi made.
If you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? Yo.
somebody that knows somebody that knows something about it. And I want answers now. Who, what, where, why? See, a lot of dudes like to act the fool now. Get on live, but that ain't my style. So who he gon' get and what he gon' do? Run up on me if you want to. Hot damn pressing his homies. He's done up in front of his mama. I'm up the floor with him. And I can get in the door and let the fofo get him. I got fools that'll go get him. That's for him and Pooh and them dudes that run with him. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go. Gotta spit it for the murderers and the killers and the thugsters. They be f***ing up the ballers and the dealers and the hustlers. Got me coming at you bogus in the VI while they bumpin' Lil Jon. I'm a rusher. It's a psycho twister from Chicago, rollin' with the Miami. Let it crush ya. We already be looking for drama. If a try to get into it with us, then we gotta get him. Feeling free from the torture that could never be cured. No penicillin, I'm telling you, trick up in the still 'em. Got me swinging Chrissy and Hennessy bottles in the club. And my thug homies going for the spiller. Don't get it twisted with that overnight celebrity. You better be scared of me in my city, I'm a killer. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go. Scotty, make it rain on this. Yeah, I'm in the terror. Got a head full of stacks. Better grab an umbrella. I make it right. I make it right. I'm in the terror. Got a head full of stacks. Better grab an umbrella. I make it right. I make it right. Make it rain on them. I make it right. I make it right. I make it rain on them. I make it right. I make it right. I make it rain on them. I make it right. I make it right. I make it rain on them. Crack. You hear the echo, man, I seen the best go. Can see how that metal. I'm a hustler, a pusher's pusher. You a buster, a customer. I get you some cooker. Yeah, crack is a chemist. I pack an 11, I'm macking a 7. I clap at your reverend. I see you in NY. I send you an invite. You gon' need you a pass. That's the code that we live by. Yeah, I'm in the terror. Got a head full of stacks. Better grab an umbrella. I make it right. I make it right. I'm in the terror. Got a head full of stacks. Better grab an umbrella. I make it right. I make it right. Make it rain on them. I make it right. I make it right. I make it rain on them. I make it right. I make it right. I make it rain on them. I make it right. I make it right. I make it rain on them. Clap, clap, clap. Gotta make that. Clap, gotta make that. Clap, 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 clap. Yeah, clap. Gotta make that. Clap, yeah, make that. Yeah. Now why is everybody so mad at the Southpaw? Change your style up, switch to Southpaw. Jada, I was listening, so I made him an anthem to make some dividends. Lil Mama Chai hit me with that shoulder lean. This could kill crack and I control the team. Couple bricks stacked on that triple beam. My dirty bro sipping that promethazine. That ganja green, that Cali weed. Lose his lifetime, roll on me now. Yep, we get it. No ifs, ands about it. And the rain keep falling, even when it's droughted. Yeah, I'm in this terror. Got a head full of stacks. Better grab an umbrella. I make it right. I make it right. I'm in this terror. Got a head full of stacks. Better grab an umbrella. I make it right. I make it right. Make it rain on them. I make it right. I make it right. I make it rain on them. I make it right. I make it right. I make it rain on them. I make it right. I make it right. I make it rain on them.
Montgomery and Wilkinson split out to the right. Franklin and Davian, the backs behind Yeager. This one off the play. Yeager keeps himself around the right side. He's got the 20, 15. Oh, the shoulder. Runs over a Bronco defender inside the 10 down to the
So you better not be the one to guard us. 'Cause we gon' blow your mind.
Diamond go right to left on the radio dial. There's snap and Kate Sass. They hand hand this one off to Kirchhoff. He cuts back middle. Kirchhoff off to the races. He's at the 10-5. Touchdown, Redmen. Jacob Kirchhoff.
We gon' blow your mind. Okay, whoa. We been on the road. From the go. Hit my blow. You know we been down for too long to give up. Can't go. I need all pesos. Want it all. Case closed. I go wild to the wild. Can't hold to the ball game over. These boys can't hold me. You boys can't hold us. I told you. Better not be the one to doubt us. 'Cause we been putting in the hours. We only taking what was ours. So you better not be the one to doubt us. 'Cause we gon' blow your mind. We gon' blow your mind.
One split to the right. Almost sends Dewey. Motion hands it off. Now flips it to Brennan. Brennan again brought down to the backfield. Nothing going. Jacob Kirchhoff says, not today, sir. Brings him down here in the first half. Kelch split out to the right. Davian and tight end on the left side. Wishbone set behind Yeager. There's the snap. Yeager going to follow Franklin through the hole. Yeager looking for an opening. He finds it. He's off. He's at the 15. Cuts outside to the 10. The 5, and Yeager walks in. 8:43 left to go in the first half. Ball right at the 50-yard line. There's the snap. They flip it to Jones out the left side. He's trying to outrun a couple. Redmen cuts back in, breaks 3 tackles, still on his feet. Now there's a fumble on the play, and it's good. Stands to the right of Hoffsummer and shotgun. There's the snap. Hoffsummer looks left. Goes to the left. Has his man. And it's picked off. It's intercepted by the Redmen. They're at the 20, the 25, 30. Montgomery's up the sideline at the 50. Cuts back at the 40. Still on his feet. 30, 20. It's 15, 10, 5. It's a Redmen touchdown. Bentley Montgomery takes it 98 yards to the house. And the Redmen score with 1:36.
All right, that was awesome, Tangi. Really appreciate you doing that for us. You know, that kind of stuff right there, it makes me miss it all over again. I hope you know how much it does mean to us to have your young men with us throughout a season. And it's just a special thing, and I think it's special here, but this is where I've been my whole life for the most part. But thanks again, Tangi. And I just told these seniors that you guys need to make sure you get a copy of that somewhere, and you need to get it somewhere where it's not just on YouTube or something, because you're going to want that when you get older. That's something that's going to mean a lot to you. So I think Alicia said that there's a quick reception
Coach?
in the lunchroom after this.
Zal.
What's that?
This is Al. I wanted to, you said to thank my crew. My crew was a girl, Jamie Bauman.
Okay.
She really had not a real good clue on football, but she did what I yelled at her to do, and so I'd like, you see her around, just pat her on the back, say thanks, because a lot of the video you saw there, that was her work. So
Okay. Thanks a
Jamie
lot,
Bauman.
Jamie. So anything else, Alicia? All right, so everybody can head down there.